Before we get to the last question, because we do have to start wrapping up soon, as usual, you've
Yeah, no
been
worries.
a delight. I always appreciate you being here. Hopefully, we'll do a part four in the future so you can catch up
We
to
will.
Sal.
Oh, we will. I'm gonna beat Sal. I'm gonna whoop his ass.
You you mentioned a meteoric rise, and naturally, we have to bring up a current meteoric rise, someone that you worked with a ton, L.A. Knight, Eli
Yeah.
Drake. He's had a couple other names. We talked a little bit about you working with him and Brian Cage in our last interview. I think at one point you were working with them. I think maybe actually it might have been related to the Bob Saget thing, maybe because you got hurt, you busted your face in a match with them. I could be
Yeah.
conflating.
No, no, yeah, it was all so I had hurt myself filming. I hurt myself the Friday afternoon filming for the Bob Saget show. And later that night I worked Brian and Rick Brian Cage and LA Knight, Sean Ricker. And the picture of me jumping with the bloody red hands from when my nose got broken a second time that day. Ricker's the one catching the crossbody. Me and him came in on a hot tag, and he didn't even know. He was like, "What is going on?" I was
Did
just
you
like, "I'm hurt."
did you talk about the success he's had? Because right now he is, the talk of the wrestling industry, and this will come out in a few weeks. I highly doubt that'll change. Uh, is it one of those things where you saw his success coming because he looks like $1 million and he's charismatic? Is it one of those things where you weren't sure because it took a while? And what do you think of where he's at now?
I mean, he's one of those guys where it was just like I've literally known him for 13 years. I remember when he first showed up, we started, working with him at Mach 1 and then from there to Hollywood. And in 2010, I was actually really, really, really close with Ricker. Not only did we wrestle all the time, but I would crash at his place sometimes. We would roll to Hollywood TVs together. I would go to the gym with him. And the man is just so dedicated. He's crazy. Like I was like, yeah, we'll go to the gym. I thought we would drive, and he's like, no, we're running. And I was like, oh shit. Like, okay, you look the way you do for a reason. We had to run super far to the Hollywood 24-hour fitness, almost getting run over. This guy's a maniac and he's fast and he's strong, and I'm trying to keep up with him. Then we get to the gym and I'm trying to keep up with him there. And then we have to go film TVs right after that. Well, guess what? We had to wrestle each other. So, I was just, he's one of those wrestlers like Brian Cage that I was just glued to for a long time, which is very funny because both Brian and Rick are, dwarf me. They're huge guys. They're everything you think of when you think of a pro wrestler, and I'm the exact opposite. And I have wrestled them both a million times.
Probably why though it
Uh,
fits so well, the
I
contrast.
mean, it tells a good story. We've Ricker can be as like mean of a bully as it gets, and at my size, like he was managed by Percy Pringle. He and I had a singles feud in Championship Wrestling from Hollywood. So I got to work with Percy, on with promos back and forth, and we had a little spot in the ring, and going into a big match with Ricker. I think I beat him twice. Like it was like, oh, how can this young kid keep beating this big experienced guy? And then after that, he came out on top, and then he moved into a feud with Brian that had a casket match. It was cool. And then from there, he kept going up. He went to NXT after that. So it's like he just kept. I don't know how to explain it. He's just one of those guys where we're like, okay, well, it has to happen. It has to happen. He did that reality show with The Rock. We're like, okay, like there's a reason he got picked for that. That was on like CBS or whatever. It has to happen for this guy. It has to happen for this guy. He'd been doing it for so long at such a solid level. And then when he went to TNA, that's when really he started to kick his in-ring work up.